So, I've not been told off yet. I'm still alive.
Just about.
Yeah. A bit of banter, if anything, got sent my way.
Witty banter?
Witty banter, yeah. So, I'm waiting for the inevitable trouble.
Oh, trouble's coming for you, mate. You called her a squirrel.
No, it's more the joke.
No, the joke's fine. It's just about chunky fingers and sex. No one really liked... It was more that... Oh, anyway...
Welcome to the Untitled Trek Show. We like to cross conversations with the two pods to make people have to listen to them both.
Oh, 100%. Now you've got to go and listen to the variety show. What did we do on the variety show the other day? Oh, the monkey talk, wasn't it? Was it the monkey talk?
No. Yeah, no, we mentioned monkey talk on the variety show, which no one on the variety show would have any clue that we were talking about.
No, that's very true.
So how you been?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not too bad. Been busy with work and... the weird fucking weather going on at the moment. 1 minute it's boiling hot, then it's kind of, are we now autumn? And then I've looked at next week's weather, lowest of 5 degrees.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
It's all over the place, and we never had that thunderstorm we were told we were going to have.
Oh, really wanted that.
We're now being told that from 9 o'clock tonight we're going to have a month's worth of rain across the next 2 days.
Oh, are we? Shit.
When I was looking in the back garden just before you come out with the dogs, like beautiful clear sky.
Yeah, it's clouded over now.
Oh, has it?
It has clouded over now. Of course it's going to rain. I'm going to London tomorrow.
For work?
To buy Heat magazine. Do you remember that advert? Oh dear, there was a whole advert thing. I'm going to London to buy Heat magazine.
No, do not know that.
Fair enough, it was a shit magazine. It wasn't even meant for us.
Well, I remember Heat being a terrible magazine, yeah.
Heat magazine, we're going to London. Where are we going? London. What are we going to buy? Heat magazine. We're going to London.
Yeah, for work I'm going to Cisco.
Oh, cool.
Going to their head office in London, and they're going to show me all their new stuff on the roadmap that they're introducing with me and my colleagues, and we're going to go there. And if it's the same place we went last time, it's amazing. You go upstairs, you go into their lovely offices, and then what they typically say is, "Oh, well, the meeting's finished, it's lunchtime. Do you fancy lunch?" Of course we do. You're going to pay for it. No. They have their own restaurant built into their head office.
Nice.
With chefs. What did I have last time? I think I had lamb and new potatoes. It was delicious. I've
been sent to the Dolby office a few times in London
for
demos
nice.
and to use their cinema. Oof. It's good. Oof. Sexy.
I love the fact they've got their own cinema.
Oh yeah, of course they do. It's kitted out with all their stuff. This is years ago now. Imagine what they've got now.
But there's subscription products, isn't there? For those of you that are rich enough to own it, you can pay a subscription and almost get the most up-to-date films in your home cinema. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, my physio, if I've ever mentioned on here, is ongoing. Still in pain, but not as much pain.
Are you lifting more than 1 kilo now with that arm?
Yeah, I can do push-ups again now, which I couldn't do before, and I can do fireman's walks and things. So I can do lots of stuff again. It's really now just gripping with my right hand can cause pain.
Yeah.
But aside from that, yeah, every time she comes around, I'm like, oh God, it's you again. She's like, it's so unbelievably painful when a physio works on you. Have you ever had one?
I've never had to have physio, thankfully, but everyone I've spoken to, all the patients in my entire career on the ambulance I've ever taken to physio have come out going, ow.
Yeah, we'll sit down on the floor and she'll be like, okay, how have you been? Blah, 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 blah. And they say, okay, this is going to hurt. And I went, okay, it'll be 10. I was like, okay.
Oh, mate.
And then, yeah, honestly, when I'm in pain, I laugh. And she'll be doing it, and then she'll be like, doesn't hurt that much then. Why is it? You're not laughing. It's like, give it a moment, and then she'll do something. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and then you hear that.
Yeah, oh my God, painful.
Enter authorization code.
So, what have you been watching?
I've only watched one sci-fi thing, and that's not just Discovery. I'm not including Discovery.
Yeah.
I've watched most of Terminator Zero on Netflix, aka Terminator the anime series.
Oh, it looks so good.
I'm not a big fan of anime. I never have been.
Yeah, you never speak about it.
I've just never really been into it. I've never come across anything that's really floated my boat when it comes to it. I mean, I watched most of the Deep Space. I watched most of the Dead Space series. or the couple of films
that was
they
quite
did.
good.
And just brutally gory, but very good, and kind of helped with kind of the idea behind the game, I guess.
Can't remember what it was called.
Then really, that's probably the only other, unless you're going to count kind of things like, I guess, Pokemon as anime. I don't really watch it. It's not something I've ever really sought out, but I like the Terminator franchise. Well, when I say the Terminator franchise, I mean I like Terminator 1 and 2, and all the others can just not exist. But I thought I'd give it a try, as I feel like I missed out on the Sarah Connor Chronicles, or whatever they called it, which was the live-action TV series they did a few years ago. And it never apparently it never got a satisfactory conclusion, kind of cancelled before its end.
I don't even know it existed.
It was meant to be pretty good.
Oh.
Never watched it. Terminator 3, I saw it at the cinema, and you know what? I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it as if it was a sci-fi robot film, not part of the Terminator. And same with Terminator Salvation. People say about how bad. I enjoyed it, but again, just distance yourself from the Terminator franchise and just have it as evil robots. It's pretty good. And then there's whatever it was called, Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah.
And I could have shit a better film into the toilet than that. That is possibly the worst thing I have ever seen created. So obviously, Terminator Zero kind of flashed up, and I thought, well, it looks pretty funky. I like the Terminator films on the most part. Let's give this a try. Brilliant. First episode's a little bit slow, but it does brilliant storytelling, and it really helps build the idea that they go with as you go into the rest of the story. Yeah, no, really, really blown away with how good it is. I would highly recommend watching it if you've got Netflix.
We're going to watch it. We watch a little bit of anime, so we've watched all of Naruto Unleashed and then all of Naruto Shippuden we've seen. Kimetsu no Yaiba is a really good one. It's called Demon Slayer on Netflix. I got Karen into that too. It's a really good one. Just visually, in its own right, it's just incredible. What else? Obviously, I like all the Studio Ghibli. There's a great one. The Girl Who Leapt Through Time's a good one. But really, I haven't dabbled that much in it, really. Anything else, or is that just it?
That's it. That is it, because I went down one evening. I literally tidied my office up and I thought, oh, what shall I do? I could watch some Special Victims Unit, and I thought, no, I fancy something a bit different. So I just chilled out and ended up watching, I think, 5 episodes in a row. I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning I finally went to bed. I'm
looking forward to the Lord of the Rings one that's coming out.
Yeah, a lot of praise on it. Fingers crossed, if it's been done by the same people that did the Amazon bit, fingers crossed it's going to have a good story and a good rating behind it.
You'll upset a lot of people. A lot of people hate that Amazon series.
A lot of people liked it.
I like it. People I know in person love it.
Oh, the majority of people I've ever spoken to about it
go online.
People
seem to hate it.
Yeah, but I hate the films.
Yeah,
but I was brought up reading the original books, and they just did what Hollywood does: throw in and add bits that aren't necessary to a story because they need to add that Hollywood formula to it. So that's not the film's fault. They're just doing what the public want.
I've always been able to differentiate, books from films in a way that I can understand, as we all really should be able to. They can't put books as films because it just doesn't work if you make it exact, because just character development stuff, you don't have the time. I think nowadays doing series is a better way of if you want to have the proper book experience, you need to do a series.
Yeah.
Proved with Game of Thrones until the end,
I wonder sometimes whether these two even like Star Trek. They spend so long not talking about it.
The real test for me is going to come with the inevitable Red Rising series going onto TV, because I'm so in love with that and know it so well that I'll still be able to appreciate if they do something different, but there'll be a part of me inside going, oh, the book's so different from it. So I think I won't really understand what other people think about the Lord of the Rings books being different until that happens.
Yeah, so just for those of them people that don't know what Red Rising is, and I've still only scratched the surface because I've listened to the first book. I've not listened to the second yet. It's
Pierce Brown is the author.
Yeah, Pierce Brown's the author. What was that terrible one that we both watched and I said I'm not going to bother with the sequel? Oh, God.
Oh, what, Rebel Moon?
Rebel Moon. It's very similar in idea, isn't it? To not idea, but styling is what I'm... So you've got almost kind of this Roman legionnaires and kind of...
So it's a space opera.
Yeah.
Is what is the most concise way of putting it. I always used to say, imagine Game of Thrones, but far distant future in space. A sci-fi Game of Thrones in the far distant future. But there's a very strong tiered hierarchy, almost slavery-esque notes through the whole thing, and a rebel kind of rising up, like kind of Star Wars-y thing going on. But it's so beautifully well written. You never know what's really going to happen. No character is safe.
No.
They're not, literally massive characters who you think are just going to be in it forever die. Goodies do not always win. This isn't spoilers. This is just, but you cannot expect anything.
I mean, how long ago was it written? Is it a fairly recent?
Well, the guy's not that old.
No, so I was going to say, because there's a lot of things you could take from a lot of other authors, a lot of other stories. You've almost got parts of things like the Hunger Games in there. You've got parts of things like Ender's Game in there. You've got all sorts of things that you could say that maybe they took inspiration from. He may not have, but
I think
there's a lot of different sci-fi and action and fantasy that if you like those things, you're probably going to like Red Rising.
Yeah, book one is so much like Hunger Games to almost being like, come on, dude.
Yeah, it could very well be you're talking about one of the 12 areas in the Hunger Games story.
Absolutely. But I always say to everybody, you know, if you don't like Hunger, still just stick with it. Get to the second, because the first book I still think is brilliant, but it's so obvious that there are parts, Hunger Game-esque parts, just because of a massive part of the end of the story is like that. But the rest of it, there's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it from the next 5 or 6 books after that. 28th of January 2014, the first book was released.
That was 10 years ago then.
Yeah.
So that still fits in with the narrative that we're saying, but that's interesting.
So 6 books in total so far, and he's got another one coming out. The next one's the last one. Anyway.
Right, Star Trek time at last.
What have I been doing?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Please, not more Supernatural.
No Supernatural.
Thank God.
I have
No
not
Supernatural.
watched any Supernatural.
Oh, I don't know what to do with that information. I'm,
So
I'm a bit lost.
You do look a little bit shocked. So Miranda has been watching...
porn, apparently, when I walked in the door.
Porn, it looked like porn. A show called The Originals, which is a spin-off of not True Blood. Is it True Blood? One of those fucking vampire
True
things.
Blood's the vampires.
What's the other one?
Oh, I don't know.
Vampire Diaries. That.
Oh, right.
It's a spin-off
okay.
of Vampire Diaries. And she's really into that because there's another series that's just come out that she wants to watch, but she feels like she has to watch it. Anyway, so she's been watching that, and I don't want to watch this shit. So I've been playing Final Fantasy Rebirth the entire time.
Fair enough.
So I've had loads of gaming sessions. I've now got 14 hours in.
Nice.
It's funny because when I started playing, I was like, oh, I'm 2 hours into the game, I'm in Act 2. And then when I got to Act 3 and looked at my playtime, I'd spent 10 hours in Act 2. So it was like story bit, open world bit, and then there's another story bit and open world bit. And the issue I've got with all these games, I can't leave things undone.
Yeah.
So I 100%ed the first open world section. But I couldn't move on until I'd done it.
Fair enough.
That's why I spent 10 hours in Act 2 and did every side quest, every objective, every hidden thing that I could possibly find. I did. Like, you can have to find certain enemies and kill them in a certain time and then do certain things while fighting them. Did all of those. And then you get loads of VR mission maxed all the VR missions for that section.
I know exactly what you mean on that one, because I've just finished Tomb Raider finally. After buying it and being so excited about it, I kind of forgot about it because we got into Helldivers.
Yeah.
So I finally completed the first one, and I missed so many of the secrets. So it's like, yep, I will be coming back to this, and I will be doing this all through again, and 100%ing the 3 secrets per level will definitely be happening. I've just started Tomb Raider 2, and I've already made sure that I'm actually getting all the secrets this time before, so I don't have to go through it again.
Yeah. I did have this thing where one of the VR missions only unlocks if you do this thing called assess, which is when you fight an enemy, you scan it, and it tells you its weaknesses and how to stagger it, how to pressure it or whatever. And I hadn't been doing it. I'd only done it on like a couple of enemies, and I needed to do it on 16 different types of enemy, and there's only 24 different types of enemy in that zone. I was like, shit. So then I had to run around and fight, try and remember all the ones already done and go around, and it took me ages.
Oh,
so
dear.
I think probably an hour going around doing assess on all these mobs.
Brilliant.
Whereas now I'm doing it every single one.
But there is one other thing we've been doing. You introduced me to WorldWarZ.
Oh yeah, we played WorldWarZ,
Which I think that's sci-fi.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh, I love it.
Originals of the variety show will know we've definitely spoken about this.
We have, yes, because you've said it's your favourite zombie
almost
film.
40 episodes ago, because I'm pretty sure we were right at the beginning.
Something like episode 5 or 6.
Because that's when I would have still been playing it a little bit. People don't know if you've played Left 4 Dead. It's a 4-player co-op zombie horde.
Yeah, it's Dead Island, Left 4 Dead, all those zombie games amalgamated in one based on the film story of WorldWarZ.
It's set in the universe of the WorldWarZ film.
Yeah,
I'm not correcting you when I say Z and you say Z. I just say Z. It's not me
I don't know
trying
why
to correct
I'm saying
you.
Z, to be honest.
I
don't say it at home because I hate it.
If you watch any trailers for the film, you'll hear them say Z because they're American.
Yeah, that's probably all it is. It's probably because that's all I've heard it called.
Yeah.
But WorldWarZ, sorry, you're right.
I'm not correcting you. I just say Z. Yeah, and I'm glad you liked it.
No, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to our next co-op session on it, to be honest. I really want to go through the next level with you and see what that's
We could
like.
probably play tonight after this. Get home quick enough if you've got time. Let's speed through it so you can play some more.
No, I better not. If I've got to go to London tomorrow, I've got a lot to do. But no, we will catch up on that because I'm very taken with it.
What else to do? Oh, I'd played reconnected with an old friend, and we've been playing some Star Wars Battlefront 2.
See, I only ever played Battlefront 1 and I loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Just great fun. Never got a chance to do Battlefront 2. So is it worth it? Or
yeah, I've got number 1 on disc, and I really enjoyed number 1 when I played it. Miranda and I had a copy each so we could play together.
Nice. So I think I had 1 on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that's why I got it on, yeah. And then 2, apparently I'd played like 5 minutes of it, but I think I just got the PlayStation Plus version, and then maybe I played the intro while installing and never went back to it. Yeah, that's really good. I'm surprised how many people still play it. We had no problems getting into games.
Oh, really?
Very well populated. There's plenty of people that are as crap as me because I was getting kills.
Oh, excellent.
So,
yeah, because that's always my worry, joining a game this late. But I don't know about how they do the matchmaking. So things like Players Unknown Battleground, if you're a newbie player, the first few games you play, you're almost guaranteed to win. And it's because they place you against bots more often.
Yeah, game
than not.
1 is always bots in PUBG, yeah.
Which I think is a nice little entry because it gives you that little boost and you think, yeah, come on, I can do this.
Yeah. But that's it, really. Games. It's been quite nice, a bit of a change.
Yeah, it's needed.
Right, Star Trek.
So you've been putting this one off because you said you didn't like this episode.
Yeah, so...
Did you mean this episode or this series?
I meant both from memory. Now, that might give you a little hint about how I actually feel about this episode.
Yeah, because I'm going to say I was fully expecting it to be up to that stage of where we're finding out Mr. Human is actually a Klingon, blah, blah, blah. But of course, that happens later. This first episode, actually quite enjoyed it.
It was actually quite cool. So, Season 2 and Season 3 are some of the worst Star Trek of all of the Star Trek, in my opinion.
Okay.
When you see them as a whole, particularly 3 and the end of 2, I don't like. And I think I just kind of raveled the entire thing in that. And then I was like, I completely forgot how much Pike was in it, especially this first episode. And I was watching it, I remember I texted the group and I said to Karen, I was like, I don't want to watch this. I'm actually really not looking forward to it. The first time, I'm not looking forward to it because I remember struggling through these because Miranda wanted to watch them so much. I was like, oh, God, I just can't bear another flipping Discovery episode. But yeah, I sat there watching it. I was like, oh, this is fun. Oh, this is good. Oh, the CGI here is really good. Oh, a little bit of story. Yeah, get past that. Oh, yeah, this bit's good.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Being how much I dislike Discovery, I was genuinely surprised at actually how much I enjoyed this. And I think it's because I walked away from... So when I last watched Season 1 and Series 2, I pretty much binged them back to back because I felt like I've got to give this another chance. And I feel kind of doing that, I'd built up this kind of frothy sort of hatred towards it. And that was continued. So even if there was a good episode at any point, I wouldn't have given it the credit it was probably due because I just binge watched like the whole first season and hated it.
And you would have been in the wrong headspace already.
Exactly.
Going into it, saying to yourself, I'm not going to like this.
Precisely.
Which is actually what I did and found myself going, I can't hate this bit because it's good. I can't hate this bit. That was actually a funny joke, you know?
Precisely. I mean, ignoring we'll go through this no doubt at some point.
Well, we're doing what we did last time. We're just going to talk about bits of it. I don't want to go through play by play through the whole episode. We'll make our way through it, but we don't have to say every scene and comment on every scene like we used to.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, the two bits that did make me chuckle was there's one when they're in the lift and just
the
randomly
fish man in the lift.
The fish man's sick. It tickled me, and I just thought that's quite funny. Yeah, just silly but funny. There's are you okay? Oh yeah, I've heard that's going around, and no one else had understood what he said. It's straight up prison pigeon on the variety show.
No, that is exactly what I thought. I was like, I really like that. Yeah.
So that I liked, and then the bit that I did really like was something that Pike says. I like this. We were expecting a red thing. Where's my red thing?
I've got that written down too. Yeah, I've got that exact quote. Where's my red thing? Yeah. He made the episode.
Oh, 100%. But
if he wasn't in it, it would still have been a good episode. But he brought a little bit of comedy to it because he's a funny guy. He's very charisma. He brought charisma to it. Oh, God, yeah. Because this is a stage with Burnham where she's still very much in Vulcan mindset and she's acting it that way, which, by the way, she doesn't do season 4 and 5. It's gone. She acts like a human because story stuff happens where she embraces her human side a bit better.
It's the whole Spock thing again, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm Vulcan. You're part human, Spock. Oh!
Yeah. She embraces her human side later.
Yeah, fair enough.
And the show is so much better for it.
Yeah, and I can believe that.
And she acts it better too.
Talking about Pike, I've got... Holy shit, I've gone limp from this Pike. He's not hot now. He looks so... How can he look so different between this and Strange New Worlds?
His budget. So he has to share his makeup and hair budget with everyone else on the show.
His shape has changed.
I think maybe he lost a bit of weight. But also his hair colour's slightly different. Darker hair. Looks like they're wearing a wet look gel in his hair.
Fair enough. Yeah,
in this. And then it's definitely more of a wax-based system going on.
He does make the episode, though.
Oh, absolutely.
And I can see why I like Strange New Worlds so much. Mm-hmm. It's him.
Yeah, it's him.
Everything about him. And I know a large proportion of that is about what's been written for him. I know that. But his portrayal, his delivery, and just what he radiates on screen...
Yeah.
is amazing. Just full stop, absolutely amazing.
Accessing library computer data.
So We kind of really, I think it's quite a bit of a slow start, really, to the whole episode in general. There's a lot of a guff and a lot of going back in time and seeing her as a child and meeting Spock. There's a very cool bit where he does that art and pulls them out of the screen to make that big serpent creature.
So, yeah, I've got written down here, are they suggesting that Spock at that age hadn't mastered his emotions? Now, it is absolutely on point with the original series and the original series films, because yes, that's what they say too, about with Spock. They say he struggled at the Vulcan schools because of his humanity and not being able to release his anger and stuff. So basically, this giant space thing is Spock's way of doing a big fuck you to his parents and to Burnham.
It represents he's pissed off. Yeah, I got that same thing because I called it a big space eel thing. Cool as fuck. CGI, really good.
Absolutely.
Really impressed with it. I didn't like the getting to that bit. Like the starting off with that long-winded intro stuff, I thought was really boring.
That long intro was painful, and it did make me think, oh God, here we go. Yeah. The thing I did think was cool, and I did Google, well, I didn't Google, I ARCed this. Sorry, I should say, because I don't
ARC
Google anymore.
ARC, isn't it?
ARC, yep. I ARC searched this, and I said, can you look this up? And I asked the question, Star Trek Discovery, did they use real Cassini images in that intro?
I wondered that, if that was real.
And I can confirm the episode begins with Michael Burnham saying space, the final frontier, while showing photographs of Saturn taken by Cassini. So yes, it was confirmed that they used the real images captured by NASA's Cassini. Now, Cassini was launched in 1997. It was a partnership between NASA and the European Space Agency.
Oh, right.
And it did its final orbit in 2017.
Oh, it lasted a long time then.
Yeah, it did 20 years in space. But yeah, so I thought that was really cool that they'd used real images of Saturn for at least that bit. And for those of you that think it's the black and white images of Saturn's rings and Saturn up close, and that still blows my mind a little bit that we've had spacecraft out that far and got images back. It's just mind blowing. But yet the rest of it, I just think it was a bit pony. And the thing I found difficult, not just the slow story with it, but how they've portrayed Vulcan in this. So if you go, and I know I'm chopping backwards and forwards, but we're led to believe this is meant to be the same timeline. This is meant to be the same timeline and universe as the original series. It's not meant to be the same timeline as the new Star Trek films. I think it's meant to be the same timeline.
Well, it's before Kirk.
Yeah, no, but it's so. If we are talking about Star Trek series, you've got the modern films that have been done by J.J. Abrams. That's called the Kelvin timeline, and it's completely its own timeline. This is meant to be the same timeline as the original series, The Next Generation.
Enterprise.
Yeah. And if you look at the original films, Vulcans portrayed, they don't have nice modern housing like they do on Earth. Instead, they're all very, almost, if you think kind of the Spanish islands like Lanzarote and stuff like that have got the traditional kind of stone-built housing. It's kind of that, but with technology infused inside it. And then basically Vulcan is quite a big kind of desert sort of planet sort of thing. And then they've got the big schools built into mountains and stuff like that. This kind of just, you watch it and you go, they're just on Earth, aren't they?
Well, that house was horrible, by the way.
That
blue staircase. Ugh. God.
But yeah, it just made, it's kind of, look, if you're trying to stick with one timeline, but try and stay faithful to what you're building it on. And I know you've already broken that with Discovery being a ship that can fold space and everything like that, but everything else you can kind of keep in place.
Those of you listening who are like me and on Mug Watch, there are no mugs in this episode.
Oh, there's no mugs?
I didn't see a single mug. No receptacles were sucked from, which was a shame. Sorry to just put that in there. I've got to get that in. No mugs.
But
you do see you get a good shot of the bridge.
You do get a good shot of the bridge.
Get to see Saru for the first time.
And it ruins it. Because right before the introduction music, I've got, oh God, I hate Tilly. She's so annoying and loud.
Yeah, Tilly is...
She runs onto screen, shouting... Oh, shut up.
Yeah, Tilly is a downside to this episode, certainly. Even though she has quite an important point in the plot later on, she is annoying in her mannerisms.
Right, no, you know what? Actually, I want to address that right bloody now. His name is Stamets, isn't it?
Stamets, yeah.
This whole storyline on Stamets is shit in this episode.
Yeah, no.
You cannot start an episode with 30 seconds of, oh yeah, I see him everywhere. I'm going to go and teach at Vulcan, bye. And then literally say nothing else for the rest of the episode. And then the last 30 seconds, we're going to capture an asteroid. Oh, I'm all erect. Right, I'm going to come and do this. And then it's forgotten about.
So this episode directly follows on from the end of the first season, where his partner, who I cannot remember his name.
The Doctor,
who's a fucking brilliant character later on. I have written it down in my notes somewhere. We'll get there eventually. He is killed. I think he's either killed or sucked into the mycelial network. Something happens to him.
But he comes back later, doesn't he?
He's back in it later. Spoilers for everybody. To tell you the spoiler warning after I've told you the spoiler. But if anyone's seen a single trailer, he plays a massive part in the last season.
Oh, 100%.
So, and he's a really good character.
He's a really good actor.
Stamets. I've wrote down it. This is one of the only moments you ever really see him on the bridge. Later on, he never leaves engineering in the other seasons, from what I remember. Never really leaves them. I find him a very frustrating character.
See, I quite like him.
It's even later on, he becomes less arrogant. He's very arrogant. The character is very arrogant and made that way. And I think he really gets put down a peg at the end of season 1. And he's trying to figure out where he is. I think by the end of it, he just becomes a little bit of a whiny bastard. Particularly, maybe just because I'm comparing him to his partner, the Doctor, in the later series, who actually becomes a much stronger character. They swap roles as the season goes on. And the Doctor becomes, I think, a much stronger, much better, more entertaining character, much more well-rounded. Much gets his own personality, whereas I feel like at the beginning he's very much just the partner / love interest of the engineer, and we need to have a Doctor so he can be the Doctor. Maybe other people will disagree with me, but that's what it felt like to me. They didn't utilise him enough.
Yeah, he could have had a much bigger role.
I mean, he does have a big role by the end of it. But I just think in general, it's so much Discovery / the Burnham show that all the other characters don't get room to breathe because of her until later. And as well, when Tilly's on and the anxiety that she brings into each scene, she kind of absorbs energy too.
Yeah.
So these other characters don't really get a look in my opinion.
Which is a shame, because when you consider, I mean, TOS is slightly different. TOS, the original series, that is, it's very Kirk-centric. It's Kirk, Spock, and that's pretty much it. And then when you get to the films, it's Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Chekhov, Sulu, fine. And Uhura, Scotty, and that's pretty much it. And okay, actually, the original series is pretty much half of those characters again. But when you get to the TNG kind of era and Voyager and Deep Space Nine, you can go episodes at times where main characters don't appear, or they appear for a very brief moment because they're giving a storyline to just someone else.
Yeah.
And I really liked that about Star Trek. But you're right, with Discovery, it does feel very much like, at least these first couple of seasons, all we care about is Burnham and the trail of fire that she leaves behind her, whatever she does.
Hugh Culber is the character's name, the Doctor. It all gets better. All I can say to anybody is that Discovery genuinely really does get better. But it feels like that they've taken so much from the J.J. Abrams films in the stylization of this series.
Yes.
Lens flares, LED lights.
Lens flare, everything's holograms.
Yeah, which we all know would never work in reality.
Exactly.
That just would not work in reality. You won't be able to see screens. Everyone would have headaches all the time. You know, I know that they're saying in the next generation no one has a headache anymore, but everyone would have a fucking headache.
You know those little weird pod things they fly later in the episode.
The Star Trek ball, no, the Jurassic Park balls.
Yeah, okay, the Jurassic Park balls of Star Trek. Yeah, you can imagine. Two of them will be going along, no, it's fine. And then there'll be the third one going, oh, for fuck's sake, I've got the one that's got the dodgy frame rate again.
You'll be looking over to them and then you'll be going, oh, God, my eyes. Can you turn your lights down? Really, like someone's shining a torch in your eye because they just lit this beacon in space. By the way, that scene, by the way, I totally get that it sounds cool. Sounds very TIE fighter, weird noise. But there's an elegance to the realism of other shows where there's no sound. You know, space
Just
has no
music.
sound. So none of that would have made a noise.
No, instead we get sounds of basically drag racing in space.
It sounds a mixture of Formula One and they've gone into audition and they've just put like a sci-fi thingy onto it. And then they've gone and got some TIE fighter noises. It sounds fucking brilliant. I get it. Very cinematic. We'll probably get to that scene a bit later. That's a really, really cool, fun scene. But yeah, I'd like to hear this without all that. Just, you know, like they would have done in Interstellar or something. Silence.
Yeah, no.
Just have a really...
Less can be more.
Maybe a score in the background. Or maybe not even that. Just like, this is actually what it would have been like. It might have even felt more intense because they would have heard noises in their cockpit. Because there's things for noises to come around in the stuff inside.
There's air inside their cockpit, yeah. So anything that hit their ship or pod or whatever you want to call it would have resonated inside. So they would have heard that noise.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have heard anything else, but they would have heard anything going on inside there. So yeah, maybe have just some internal sounds.
Yeah. But we can't be too on it because all of them do this. Everything does this.
Absolutely, it's rare that you get something that doesn't do that.
But yeah, that's a really good scene. We've already said about the fish sneezing.
Is it a good scene?
I liked it. Yeah, I liked all of the kind of...
Where the fuck did these little shitty pods come from?
Okay.
They're not shuttlecraft. What the fuck's going on?
The stylisation of those pods, as I said, the Jurassic Park balls are fucking weird.
I've got, look, the little
pods
are
nothing
stupid.
Like that in Star Trek anywhere else.
The little pods are stupid. They sound stupid. They're controlled stupidly. Stupid.
But the scene itself is cool.
The
Flying
scene itself
shuttles.
is cool, and absolutely the dickhead deserved to die.
Oh, yeah, not bad. He was a prat from the beginning. He had some fucking bee in his bonnet, didn't he? So, and then he's boasting about something to do with fucking Star Trek Academy and someone, and then he gets wiped out because he won't listen to
100% deserved to. I just didn't... I didn't particularly like the pod. I just didn't particularly like the design of anything. And yeah, the scene is pretty cool. But even then, Pike's capsule pod, whatever you want to call it, stops working. Mm-hmm. Why did Burnham have to jump out and catch him when they were just going to eject him from the ship anyway?
So his ejector suit had malfunctioned too. So even if he could get out, I had to actually stop and watch it again for this exact reason to figure out why the fucking hell she had to do any of that. So his suit had failed. Everything had failed. So even if he did eject when his visor finally came down, he would have been floating through space. So she
that we know of, but once the visor was down, the suit would probably start working.
He got it down by forcing it down, by hitting his head. So the electronics inside the suit, the ejector, so the thrusters and all that, I'm assuming is what it meant.
Yeah, fair enough.
So she needed to, fucking, I don't know, launch herself, do some maths, launch herself, and then get the ship to fire thrusters on her. I didn't get that. Why the ship had to do the thrusters, why she couldn't do the thrusters.
Because she just wanted to cuddle with Pike like us all.
Yeah, I mean, I was jealous of her in that scene.
We were all very jealous of that.
I'd like to be in a suit cuddling him in space.
Again, the suits were a nice design. I actually like the suits better than I did the pods, and I like the fact, the button they had in their chest to make the helmet go away. Mm-hmm. I like the fact they had to hit that. So it wasn't just like you will see in something like, in fact, there's a Prime one, Lost in Space, the Matt LeBlanc
He just
film.
does it,
He
yeah.
just little tap of it and it comes down. So basically, he's in space. All you do is you fly over to him and quickly tap it. You're fucked. This, you could see they've thought about it. So the fact that you've got to actively kind of hit your chest hard to trigger it makes you think, did they think about that? So you can't just accidentally tap it when you're out in space and
In
decease
reality,
yourself.
it will have something on your hand that has to connect with that on your chest, so no one can come up to you and do it. That's the reality of it, isn't it? There'll be
100%.
something where your fist has to connect with that pad, not just anyone's fist. I disagree with you on the suits. The colours. Now, hear me out.
no.
There's comments earlier. But by the way, we had to wait 8 minutes for Pike to appear in this episode. We had 8 minutes of damn near torture before Pike appeared in this episode.
In very cool looking uniforms compared to the shitty Discovery ones.
Now, uniforms, and I'll get to my point about that. The actual style is identical. It's just the colours that are different. That collar on both is exactly the same. There's just the colours that have changed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you look at it, they had that same bit where the collar is bigger as it comes out the front.
Oh,
now,
I didn't
it looked
notice.
better on the blue suits than I think it did on Pike's yellow with the black, because it looked bigger and I think it looked a bit stupid, that big collar.
Oh, see,
but when I noticed it, it's the same as the blue ones.
Actually, I preferred the colourful uniforms.
I
and
preferred
how
the
they
colours
look.
of the colourful ones, but I didn't like the collar. Now, it took me a while to realise that's the same blue as what the Enterprise series blue was.
Yes.
Of course it would be, because that was the old uniform.
Yes,
And-
it's a natural progression on from where we had
Yeah.
Enterprise.
And they comment on it, don't they? They say something like, oh, I like the new uniforms.
Yes, they comment about it. Now, just before they're beamed on, did you notice what the person that's in control of the transporter was wearing?
I didn't notice.
It pans across as they walk into the room. It pans across. So you've got the door on the left, and it pans as they walk in. And in the foreground is someone's head, and they're wearing what remarkably looks like a early version of Geordie's visor.
I didn't notice.
Ah, yes. They're
I'll
just.
say again.
You watch it again, and you'll see what I mean. When they walk into the room to meet them at the transporter, they've got I've got here, yeah. But the beaming scene. Wait, is that a prototype Geordie visor?
Yeah, I'll have to watch that again. I didn't notice that. Now, back to what I'm saying about the uniforms. So, they're told they're in new uniforms. Now, these will be the only uniforms they have, because they've come from the Enterprise to Discovery. Now, they're going on to the Discovery pods, and they're going to get into the Discovery's spacesuits. So tell me why the 3 people from Enterprise have got into Discovery suits but have the colours from the Enterprise. Surely, when they all got into those pods, they would have had to have put on Discovery spacesuits,
Maybe
which
they
would
brought
not
them,
have been colourful.
but the spacesuits don't necessarily have to meet the same. So don't forget. If you look at, let's actually fast forward past the original series and go to the Next Generation and go to First Contact. And you remember the scene where Worf, Picard, and... Oh, who else goes out with them? Worf and Picard and one other go out. Oh, yeah, Ensign Dave, we'll call him, because he gets killed by the Borg. They go out onto the hull, don't they?
Yeah.
They're all the same colour.
Yeah.
So I think the spacesuits, they wouldn't be...
No, but they're wearing the colours that they were wearing the uniform of.
Oh, were they?
Yeah. So Pike, his yellow one. The other woman had red.
Oh, I didn't.
The other one had the light blue.
I
Burnham
didn't spot
had
that.
the dark blue.
Oh, I didn't spot that.
And it's like they're in a rush, as if Pike would have contacted the Enterprise and gone, oh, can you just beam down our colour-coded spacesuits? He wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't care.
Yes, they
He
would.
just put on
No,
whatever he'd
they
want.
would have, because don't forget, he's taking command of Discovery. He's not going to be back on the Enterprise for potentially ever. We don't know what's going to happen on that mission, because that's when they warp to the red thing. Enterprise is left where it is, and it goes off on its merry way. It's not in tow. It's not following them. Pike is on the Discovery for whatever period of time he's on there. So I think, yeah, they would have sent over all of his stuff. And seeing that the ships don't have replicators yet, they would have their own uniform.
I think that that's just a thing they did for the art style. And actually, if I'm going to pick it apart, I think it doesn't work. I think they should have all been in the same spacesuits.
I don't know. I think it does work, personally. I do think, because I think it would be, you'd have personal uniform, no replicators. You'd basically be relying on them going to Discovery and them having Pike's fit.
Well, then whoever is running lower decks logistics on the Enterprise has done a really good job at teleporting all of that kit over. Oh, Pike's leaving. I better send all of this kit over.
Yeah, but let's face it, we've already had a really boring intro. Do we want another 5 minutes of boring this? Oh, what are we doing in the transporter bay? We're just watching boxes be transported over. I'm going to
show it. I just like, we're going to rip apart a bit. I just pointed out to myself straight away. So I didn't feel like they'd have those colours.
No, fair enough. No, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. I don't agree, but I do get what you're saying.
Anyway, can you show about the point of this whole episode? So,
oh, that might be an idea.
Yeah, so there's...
Did we even say what episode we're doing? Season 2, episode 1, Brother.
We had said that already, and Valencio did announce it again for us.
Perfect. Okay, thanks, Valencio.
Firstly, you are welcome, Tom. It's nice to be appreciated once in a while. Secondly, how the fuck is this 45 minutes in and you are only just mentioning the episode title? Amateurs.
Yeah, so I'd insert Valencio here. Is he going to respond to you? Do you want to have a conversation with him?
You're a wanker. You keep skipping my stuff.
What the actual fuck?
Your mum.
You're going to regret that.
Leave my mother out of this. She's a strong, beautiful, independent woman.
Right. If I got to regret the chipmunk, you're going to regret upsetting Valencio. He bloody's in on the variety show anyway.
No. Valentino's in the variety show. You have Valencio.
Oh, it's just the same guy. We just changed his name all the time.
Don't ruin the magic. It's the whole uniform things, isn't it, already?
Yeah. What colour uniform has he got for you?
Oh, well.
Is he a red shirt?
It's purple.
Oh.
He doesn't even know my name. Fuck you, Tom. You smart-ass piece of shit. I withdraw my gratitude to you earlier. Shove it up your ass. And Rob, fuck you too. You'll both regret this.
Right, well, where we get? Yeah, so basically there's some red things, some anomalies are happening across the galaxy.
They've had 7 of these red energy spikes across apparently at random across space.
And they need to go find out what they are. Basically, that's it. Anyway.
And one is active at that time.
And that's what's happening. And that's why we made the comment earlier about Pike saying, where's my red thing? Because they eventually get to one of them, find out that there's a big destroyed asteroid field or something, and then they find there's a Star Trek vessel marooned in the middle of where this red thing is. And that's when Pike makes the comment is, where's my red thing?
Yes.
I don't see any red things.
Now, at this point, so we've talked about the pods. They're crashing or they're landing on the asteroid. And you've got this part where Burnham is saying, we don't leave people behind. Then speaking back to Discovery saying, can you manually control his pod? Yes, we can. And then there's this bit where there's like silence and they say, Burnham then said, we can do it, can't we, girls? And they're like, oh, yes. Mm-hmm. And I just got written here, at points, this just feels like a bloody sitcom. It doesn't feel like a sci-fi show. There's a lot of this episode, as much as I enjoyed the episode, a lot of it feels very out of place with what you would consider a sci-fi show. There's lots of bits to it that are sitcom-y, like the lift scene with the fish alien, with where's my red thing, with this bit that she's shouting back at the girls and they go, oh yeah, it's really just weird.
Yeah,
I can't really put my finger on it, but it feels very sitcom-y all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, you're right. They crash onto the asteroid and they survive. What was I going? That actually annoyed me a little bit.
Yeah.
So she gets thrown out of she ejects out of her pod.
Mm-hmm.
They manually eject Pike, and you hear him laugh happily, maniacally as his thing comes down, and he realizes he's survived.
I like that though.
I like that. She catches him.
Yeah.
And we see her thrusters fire, and then it goes back to the bridge of Discovery.
Yep.
And it's radio silence. She's not answering. Oh, they're dead. You've done it wrong. You cannot show someone eject out, catch the other person, and her emergency thrusters that you're firing, fire, and then do the radio silence. What you do is you fire out, capture, and then you show them go on the bridge firing it, but you don't show the person's thing firing, and then you do the radio silence, because there's absolutely no way in my head did I think they haven't survived.
Yeah.
I know it's a really little silly little whinge, but there was just, you've wasted 30 seconds here that you could have done something more with the story elsewhere by giving the whole audience already know they're alive. So why are you pretending that you don't?
Yeah. Did you notice the Untitled Trek show Easter egg that Discovery had placed in there for us on the ship? There's the Hippocratic symbol on the ship.
Oh, yes.
That's crashed. As a shout out to our Suicidal Wharf episode. Just for us, that was put there in post-production.
Yeah. Obviously, then they land on the asteroid. I did like this, but I've got written down here, oh, look, it's a shiny thing flying towards them. Ah, it's Eve from WALL-E.
Yeah, it had that vibes. But this is the introduction to one of the best characters in the entire Star Trek, Commander Jet Reno.
Played by Tig Narato, who is
fucking
just
brilliant.
Full stop brilliant. Whatever they are in, it's amazing.
Now, I'm sorry, everyone, she is criminally underutilized in the entirety of Discovery. She is literally the entire of a whole season gone. Just not in it. And never says why. And I can't remember if it was I think it's season 4. She may be in it for like 5 minutes. And it's not addressed. I don't think I can only imagine that the actress was busy doing something else.
Oh.
The same as that zombie film that she's in, where she's actually not in it.
Oh, really?
So there's that. There's a zombie film that she's in Las Vegas, and they have to go into one of the vaults in Las Vegas to get loads of money out.
Army of the Dead?
Could be Army of the Dead. Now,
yes, that's the one, because it's got a Vegas looking
any
front
scene
end.
you see her with Batista, they were not there together.
Oh, really?
She couldn't film on those days. She had to do something else.
Oh.
So they all pretended she was there, and they filmed her separately and put her in it.
Oh, that's
brilliant. Go
brilliant.
back and watch that film knowing
I've
that.
never watched it. I'll have to.
Watch it now and see what a fucking brilliant job they did, because you would never know.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That is absolutely brilliant.
Now, someone's going to correct me and tell me that was actually bullshit, but I've seen stuff on YouTube showing you how they did it.
Nice.
So unless that was all bullshit too, but yeah. That's the only thing I can make, because she is so good. And you'll see in this episode, she brings such a good energy and the character's brilliant. And every single time they use her in the entire show, she is like that. She's brilliant.
I've got this, the introduction to Tig, as in the actress. One of the few characters I do like. And you're right, I love their character in this. It's just the sarcasm, the delivery, the energy, that whole, you get the real, I hate what's going on vibe from her. But it's done so well and just wonderful.
She's got super mad scientist vibes.
Oh, God, yeah. It's the whole point. And I've got 2 questions for you to see if you paid attention.
Yep.
But yeah, so she's kept these people alive. And then one of them goes, aren't you an engineer?
Yeah, it's like,
the human body's just a machine.
they're all just machines.
And
yeah.
I like to read.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Because all of her solutions that you can see are all engineering solutions.
Yeah,
so like his heart wasn't working. So
I just got a Bolian's heart.
Yeah,
and
I got this other heart
I
here.
wired it up.
Yeah, done.
That's brilliant.
They just need their blood moving. What does it matter what's doing it? That's it.
So they walk in and meet them, yeah? And we see on the top bunk of the medibed an alien laying there. And it's got a little holographic display, because everything's holograms.
Yeah.
And it's got how many hearts the patient has.
Was it 2 hearts?
It was 4.
4.
So it's got a picture of 4 hearts showing each of them, which I thought was really cool. And then, just because I can, what length of time?
10 months, 11 days.
Oh, you wrote it down as well.
Yeah, I wrote it down. And what starbase was she on their way to?
Oh, fuck off.
Starbase 36.
36.
Yeah, this is one of my favourite scenes. All because of her. Yeah. I just wish it had just been her and Pike.
It was so well written as well. But yeah, her and Pike would have been perfect because they would have bounced off each other. But to an extent, I didn't mind Burnham in this bit.
Yeah.
And you get that whole point where, I'm just going to say Tig because I can never remember. It's Jet, I know it's Commander Jet, or Reno, whatever we want to call her. Says, where were you 10 months ago?
Yeah, when Burnham just knows how to do loads of engineering stuff to get the teleport pad to work.
And I've got, so there you have it. It's a question, it's an answer to a question we asked a few episodes ago when we had that questions episode. Transporting off a transporter pad is safer.
Yeah.
So you can be transported from anywhere, but it's safer to do it off the pad.
I kind of feel like it works like a dish too. It becomes a very focused. I think we might have said this is you stand on here because you're getting teleported.
And in fact, what I like is
no interference in this.
That transporter
Faraday
they have
cage
is surrounded by giant dishes, so it's almost like it's an early transporter, and you can see kind of where the technology has progressed to do it. So I really did like that bit.
Yeah, as I was saying, I think it's like a teleporter Faraday cage. Is what I can think of, really. And aliens all get teleported. And it's a great bit where she gets off and gets blown away, and you see Pike run to try and get to her, and he gets teleported mid-run. I quite like that. Because you think, they've got to stand still to get teleported. But he's like, he doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, I need to save her.
Absolutely.
At no point. Now, doesn't explain how he gets back.
No, I assume
to save her.
Yeah, because we've already said, well, I presume he can't beam down because they've just blown up that area. So it's just like
that. I'm not sure.
So
an indeterminate amount of time passes too, because there's laser explosion, and she gets hit on the head, doesn't she?
Yeah,
and goes unconscious.
So there's two options really. Did he get in another pod and come down? In which case,
or did Jet do something?
Or did Jet do something? Or they beamed him down. If they beamed him down, why didn't they just do that in the first place?
Yeah.
It breaks that story.
Yeah,
no matter how you look at that.
Bit and they didn't really say how they get her off. They teleport him off. So they get teleported off.
Yep.
Because she can't take the rock with her.
Well, it's not she can't. And that was I thought that was actually interesting. They got the lock on her, and just because she was holding something meant they didn't lock onto that as well.
No.
I thought that was a bit odd.
No, it's because of what the rock was made of.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
That's
yes, it couldn't get the lock.
They talk about with Tilly.
Yeah, they're
later.
talking in the bed when it's fixing her leg.
Because I was like, well, she had that jagged thing going through her leg. Did that come with her?
Well, I presume it must have.
Because then, is that not part of the asteroid?
That was a piece of metal. That was from the ship.
Right, yeah. And I liked it like she'd broken some femur and she'd be ready. She'd be healed in 2 hours.
In a couple of hours.
Yeah, I quite liked that. I was like, it's actually nice to be like, to have a little bit and be told, no, our technology is that good.
And the random doctor in the background as well going, yeah, no, you aren't a great patient. Just walking off. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, that doctor is actually in it a few times. But yeah, she feels very, very random. And you did see what the red thing is. You saw that weird figure.
Yeah, red. I'm
not going to spoil it for anybody. I'm just not going to spoil it for you.
No, fair enough. Well, I might have. Sorry, I know exactly what it is.
Okay,
but
let's not spoil it for everybody else.
But then so.
Oh, and then we see now they need to
this whole Tilly thing.
Time. Yeah, now Tilly's in it big time, and we find out the whole time that Burnham's been trying to recover. She's actually been working at the mathematics of how they can catch one of the asteroids. Gives it to Tilly. Tilly goes to Tilly, who's just a fucking ensign, by the way. She is a low-level person who seems to manage to get on the bridge somehow. And by the way, accidentally put all of Pike's personal details on the fucking viewer screen earlier, which he didn't seem bothered about. Massive GDPR breach there by Tilly.
Well, let's face it, the European Union doesn't exist at this point, so I think GDPR probably got dissolved. And I like how in that scene, I like how he's like, my stain on my record, the F I got in astrophysics.
And all the rest were A stars. You see, A pluses or whatever.
And it keeps scrolling and it's just award.
Yeah, I did quite like that. That was a neat touch. But yeah, she is frustrating. Basically, the rest of the episode now is a bit annoying.
Did they really need to shoehorn in catching an asteroid to make Stamets want to stay? I just thought it was a really stupid thing. I think it would have been so much better to have dedicated some more story to maybe, Pike, because we like Pike, I know, but you could have dedicated more to Tig Norato's character, or I mean, there's so much more they could have done. I mean, you could have had a scene on the bridge while they're down on there. I mean, you've got Saru. He's moaning. Well, you're not moaning. He's like, hang on, to beam, we need to have the shields down. We can't have shields.
Yeah.
And things are coming towards us. Your spaceship has phasers. Every other starship in every other series would have been going boop, boop, boop,
Shooting
boop,
them.
shooting them.
Turning them into smaller things that aren't going to be an issue. Yeah, and we only see his neckworms very briefly too, considering he's supposed to be shit scared of absolutely everything at this stage.
Sitcom moment. So, what did you expect? So, yeah, fair enough. But...
And, well, that's the episode.
Yeah, I will say, the one thing I will say about Saru, I'm just looking up here, is the dedication the actor had to creating this portrayal of Saru, even down to his walking movement, is just utterly beautiful.
Well,
and it's just the concentration alone in remembering your lines, being able to say your lines, and to be able to do all of that while walking, swaying your arms and remembering to do all of this characterization you've created for yourself.
Well, you know who he is?
It's amazing.
His name's Doug Jones.
Doug Jones, yeah, who is all sorts of
probably
things.
Like the best of those kind of actors. So he's in Pan's Labyrinth. He's in Hellboy. He's in The Shape of Water. So he's the water creature in Hellboy and The Shape of Water. I think he's the big horned creature in Pan's Labyrinth. I think he's the zombie in Hocus Pocus.
He's been in so much.
Yeah, he is very typecast in that kind of role, but for good reason, because he's
so good at it.
A very good actor, and I've heard a lot of stuff about him being able to put up with a very claustrophobic nature of all of these suits that they get put in, and he's very, very patient, doesn't move, very calm whenever they're putting the makeup on, which can last for hours. I remember seeing something from Guillermo del Toro about The Shape of Water and how he loved Doug because of just how he completely embodies these monsters that he plays.
Yeah.
He is, in my opinion, probably the biggest actor in Discovery. The most beautiful, well cast, probably biggest name in it, and he acts Saru faultlessly for the entire 5 seasons.
Yeah, you cannot deny, you can't believe that he isn't really an alien in this.
Yeah.
Not just the makeup. The makeup is really good, and that's never going to be taken away from the people that have done the makeup. However, makeup only does so much. If you've got someone that can't do the job, no matter what makeup you do on it, it's going to be a shit character.
Every action he makes as Saru, like what you're saying, you think he is an alien.
Everything is calculated in such a way.
He moves his hands. He moves them very flowing because they're so much longer. I'm doing the actions. No one else will be able to see them. The way he walks, where he sways his hands behind his body. If you ever notice how he walks, doesn't walk arms going backwards and forwards.
No,
they go back. They go from left to right behind him.
Bit.
Yeah, they go behind him, left to right, and that never changes for all 5 seasons. It's exactly the same. He's so well acted. He's so good. But that's the episode. Let's final thoughts.
Transfer complete.
So, as I said at the beginning, I had memories of actually hating this episode, or really, I think it's just I didn't like season 2. And the more I'm thinking about it, I think actually it's more the conclusion of season 2 that I hate, like really dislike, which it then leads on to season 3, which is fucking diabolical in my opinion.
So which is season 3? Is that the one they finally go into the future for the first time?
That's in the future for the first time.
Okay, so I will say the only other bit of season 2 that I remember that I really liked, and I would say I really liked, but looked cool, I guess, is the giant battle scene that Discovery and Enterprise end up in.
I don't remember it.
Or is that the end of the first season then?
Who knows?
How does the end of the first season end?
I
All I know is there's this big one, and it must be the end of season 1 then, because the Enterprise. No, I don't know. Either way, it must be the end of season 2 because it's the end of season 2 because the Enterprise goes away knowing that Discovery is time traveled, and then we know Strange New Worlds, they're not allowed to talk about it. But at the end of season 2, there's this massive fight between the Enterprise, Discovery, and whatever the alien race is that's trying to stop them do what they're trying to do, and it looks brilliant.
One thing I would say I do like is when they go to the other, what do they call the other dimension? The mirror universe, where Michelle Yeoh is.
Oh, that's quite a good episode as
Michelle
well.
Michelle Yeoh?
Yes, and
yeah, and I love her character.
That was quite a good episode as well, and mainly because it was very Hollywood in action, where they're flying into kind of the alternate universe ship to destroy whatever it is they have to destroy and then fly back out.
There's no denying that doesn't have budget. There's not been a budget problem that I can tell, certainly on the CGI perspective. Even set design is very good. But yeah, this episode, actually, it's a good one.
Yeah.
So I take back saying privately to you guys how much I didn't like it, because I clearly didn't remember it correctly. I enjoyed it. The action scenes I enjoyed. Pike is brilliant in it. I know we go on about him all the time, but he is just fucking good.
He is a brilliant character.
What's the actor? I follow him on Twitter, actually.
I do, and I've closed IMDb, so I'm not going to dig into it too much, but he's brilliant. And it's the battle against Control is the end of it.
Yeah. Anson Mount. It plays Pike. So I would say it was a good one. If you didn't watch it, do go watch it, because it is actually quite a fun episode, and you do get to see Pike.
It's one of the stronger episodes.
Pike.
It's one of the stronger episodes of the first couple of series.
Yeah, definitely. And you enjoyed it too.
100%. I did actually enjoy that.
So
I dreaded watching it, and I came away quite happy.
We recommend.
We do.
Command functions are offline.
Okay, so if you want to find out more about the Untitled Trek Show, you can head over to www.channel84.co.uk. There, you will find out all about Studio Channel 84, which is an indie network for podcasts. That includes Who Takes the Socks Off, Lightly Used, and The Variety Show. Untitled Trek, if you head on to channel84.co.uk, you will find a contact page, and on that contact page you will find all our social media. So that's Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, it's there, Facebook. Grab the details from there. If you would like to email us, you can email rob@channel84.co.uk, you can email me, tj@channel84.co.uk, or you can email podcasts@channel84.co.uk, and that goes to both of us. And remember, that is plural, so that is podcasts@channel84.co.uk.
Wicked.
There you go.
Thanks, mate.
I'm so rehearsed in saying that now.
Because you have to say it every time.
To be fair, what we should probably do is just record it and then have it as a copy and paste every episode.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. We should just do that. More shit show coming. I've actually started writing it. It'll be the last episode, unless there's any shorts that we think of, before the Christmas special.
I am very much looking forward to our Christmas special.
Because the Christmas special is big. If we get to do what we want to do, it's going to take a lot of thinking to do it. So I need time to do it. And hopefully I'll get a Trek Roulette in before then too.
Okay.
Because again, they take a long time to edit. So
fair enough. Well, I know we've done a lot of questions and a lot of random episodes, and the Trek Roulette, by the way, I've listened to that episode twice now.
Yeah.
And I know it's my own stuff, but I love it. I think it's so much fun.
Really good fun.
So I'm looking forward to doing that again soon with someone else, hopefully. I'd like to recommend an episode, though, for the next episode, if that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would like us to watch a Deep Space Nine episode, because I've been waiting to get you on Deep Space Nine. And we're actually going to go early. We're going Season 1, Episode 19.
Season 1. I'm writing this down. Episode 19.
And it's called Duet.
Okay.
And it's probably, in my opinion, one of the strongest of all the episodes of Deep Space Nine.
Of Deep Space Nine?
Yeah. It's, to give you a brief idea, the little blurb here is a Cardassian suffering from Culinora, a disease that indicates he served in a labour camp, visits Deep Space Nine. Kira is determined to convict him as a war criminal.
Oh, we pick fun ones, don't we?
It's I can see now it's not a fun one, but I've got to say it is genuinely one of the best episodes out of all Star Trek. It's not just beautifully written, it's beautifully acted, it's incredibly deep, it's incredibly thought-provoking, and without putting too many spoilers, I mean, I'm looking at the IMDb rating is 9 out of 10, and that is a rare thing to see on IMDb. But to spoil it too much, it's basically a mirror of World War II war crimes and the Jewish Holocaust.
Oh, fuck me.
I know it's deep, but trust me, it is. When you watch it, you're going to come back and go, look, I know I went, oh my God, but wow, you are going to say that.
Look, if we can make Klingon suicide funny, we can make Holocaust and war crimes funny. See you later, everybody. Love you. We're ending it here. Say it. Say it so I can press the record button.
Oh my God.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Trek Show. This station is now shutting down and will be back in 2 weeks. May the Force live long and prosper inside of you. This was a Studio Channel 84 network show. To find more, head over to channel84.co.uk now.